Thank you, Secretary Spellings, for coming forward with some tangible ideas and proposals. We've spent a fair amount of time at the summit diagnosing the problem and hearing generally about some ideas and suggestions, but the President, the administration have put forward these specific proposals, and we appreciate you reviewing them with us. And we're glad also that you'll be able to stay and participate in the panel discussion, which now follows. And we will have joining in for the panel discussion three distinguished members of the United States Congress. We start moving from my left to the end of the table with Senator Jeff Bingaman, who was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1982 to represent New Mexico. He's currently serving his fourth term in the U.S. Senate and is a member of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee. During his career, Senator Bingaman served on the National Education Goals Panel and has been a strong advocate for a national strategy to prevent dropouts. Next to him is Congressman Castle, a former Deputy Attorney General, State Legislator, Lieutenant Governor, and importantly, two-term Governor of the great state of Delaware. Congressman Castle is serving his seventh term as Delaware's lone member in the House of Representatives. He is the chair of the Subcommittee on Education Reform, which has jurisdiction over early education through high school. Congressman Castle recently introduced the Vocational and Technical Education for the Future Act to help states and local communities strengthen vocational and technical education. Next to him is Congressman Ruben Hinojosa, who was elected to Congress in 1996 and is currently serving his fifth term as a representative for the 15th District of Texas. He is ranking minority member on the Subcommittee on Select Education. In addition, Congressman Hinojosa is chairman of the Education Task Force for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and author of the Graduation for All Act. Senator Bingaman, Congressman Castle, and Congressman Hinojosa, we are so grateful that you'd come on a Sunday to be with us as part of this summit. We know how demanding your schedules are. We're grateful that you take the time to be part of this important discussion. We'll start out the panel discussion with a question for members of Congress only, and then, as she is inclined, Secretary Spellings will join in for response and participation with the remaining questions. Just to get things going with an easy warm-up for these members of Congress, we have been talking a lot over the last day and a half about high school reform. Governor Warner has made this his marquee initiative as chairman of the NGA. Many observers, including Bill Gates, have come and made very strong indictments of the current state of American high schools. As you probably heard, Mr. Gates yesterday said that the American high school as currently configured is obsolete. And so our first question is simply this. From a federal perspective, from your perspective in Congress, what are the emerging issues that need to be addressed as we try to reshape and improve America's high schools? And maybe Senator Bingaman, will start with you.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here and appreciate the invitation. Let me mention three issues. I know there are a great many issues that could be addressed and probably deserve to be addressed related to high schools. Three that I think are extremely important. First is how we develop what we can do at the federal level as well as the state level to have a more rigorous curriculum. Second is how do we move to smaller high schools? And third would be how do we keep more kids in school till they graduate? Let me say a couple of words about each. On the issue of a more rigorous curriculum, I think advanced placement instruction is a proven way to achieve that, and I think the more effort we put into expanding the use of advanced placement instruction, the better we'll be. We're doing that in our state. I know many states are doing that. At the federal level, I compliment the administration for asking for an increase in federal funds for advanced placement instruction. I think it's a high priority. I do not think that the same kind of compliment can be given to the administration for its budget proposal on the National Science Foundation education budget. There, the proposal is to cut over $100 million out of that budget. I think that's very unfortunate, and I hope Congress does not go along with that recommendation. On getting to smaller high schools, I don't know if Bill Gates addressed that, but his foundation has put several $100 million into trying to assist with smaller schools. Again, the federal program that we have in No Child Left Behind is the Smaller Learning Communities Act. the Smaller Learning Communities initiative. We have put funding into that. This year we put $94 million into it. Again, it's a program that is slated for zero funding under the President's budget. Again, I think that's unfortunate, because I'm persuaded that you get better performance, you get fewer discipline problems, you get better attendance, you get fewer dropouts if you're in smaller schools. And we need to find ways to help the larger schools restructure themselves into smaller schools. And the final issue I wanted to mention is the issue of how to keep kids in school. This is one that we have had great difficulty making progress on. I remember when the first National Summit on Education occurred in 1989 with all the governors and with then President Bush in Charlottesville. One of the goals adopted was that 90% of students entering high school would graduate within 4 years. We've made very scant progress toward that goal, if any. We need to once again make it a high priority. The provision in No Child Left Behind that relates to this is the authorization of $125 million per year of federal funds to assist states in reducing the dropout rate and in adopting successful strategies to reduce the dropout rate. The administration has never asked for any funding for that. We have put very small amounts in recent years. But clearly this needs to be a priority, and if the federal government is going to assist states in solving this problem, funding that program would be one way to do it. Thank you.
Congressman Castle, your thoughts about reforming high schools and the federal government's ability to help us with that goal.
Thank you, Governor Plenty and Governor Minner and all the other governors who are here, many of whom are friends and all of whom I hope are friendly. I am pleased to be able to be with you for a few moments. We don't have a lot of time here, but I think this is wonderful, what you are doing. I can't say enough. I've been following it. I follow what Bill Gates said, some of your own recommendations. It's just of overwhelming significance. Secretary Spellings mentioned, I believe, South Korea and China. You can put India in that category. If you start to look at the statistics educationally of what they're doing versus what we're doing in the United States, and you look at the history of economic progress and success in this world, you will understand that we are at a watershed time to do something about it. If we're going to do something about it, we have to do it in education. Certainly we have to do it in high school education as well as the rest of our education. I'd just like to start with a couple of points that are a little bit off of that. And one is just the whole social, cultural issues that we deal with. You all deal with it. I know you do. I've dealt with it myself. The poverty issues, the race issues, the very difficult subject matter that needs to be taken up. We can never let up on that from the time of birth on, which I'll talk about in a moment as well. The importance of education to lift people from wherever they are to wherever they want to be is of just vital significance that needs to be sold. We need to convince our corporations, a lot of whom are represented here. We need to convince the media. We need to convince everybody of the importance of this so they can subliminally and directly sell that message as well as possible. I don't think it's happening. And just look at the economic tables. The further you go in education, the better you're going to do economically. A lot of people don't comprehend that. We need to get that message across. And it's a continuum. That first 60 months before you ever really get near school, perhaps kindergarten, but not near any other school, is of vital significance in terms of what's going to happen in high schools, quite frankly. And so are elementary schools, and so are the schools in between up until high school. Head Start was mentioned here today. That's of great significance as well. I'm the sponsor of that legislation in the House of Representatives. That can make a big difference in the lives of kids at 100% of poverty or less who perhaps would not otherwise have a choice. I happen to be a strong believer in No Child Left Behind. I believe that this aggregation, which is probably the greatest source of irritation to many people, because you have to have all the groups passed if the schools are going to make adequate progress, is of vital significance because it gives everybody a chance. It is a rising tide of huge importance. Maybe we have to look at value added. Maybe there's some things that are not in there that eventually we'll have to look at. But basically, it makes sense. And when you really boil it down, what does it really say? It really says that the states need to pick their standards and assessments, and then they have to stick with them. And that's exactly what it's all about. And I think you understand that message. And I applaud the governors because I think you've taken a pretty positive message. And I get some of the same flack you do. I think we all who are elected officials do. And I was not happy with the National Conference of State Legislators in their statement, I think 2 or 3 days ago, in which they renounced No Child Left Behind. I just simply don't believe that. I think this has afforded an opportunity for all of us to move ahead. And yes, it's a little more transparent than it used to be, and it's not easy when some of our schools don't make it. But the bottom line is it's very challenging, and I think that's what we need to do in our schools, including the high schools, if we possibly can. A couple other very quick thoughts, and then we'll go to Ruben here. One is research. The Institute of Education Sciences is the old Office of Economic Research, and we think it can make a vital difference. Secretary Spellings will be handling that. We need better research in the United States of America. I think we need ongoing assessments, not assessments at the end of the year necessarily, but assessments on a regular basis, weekly, 2-weekly, whatever it may be. Maybe not even tests, but built-in types of assessments in the education that we have in America so we can measure the advance of these students as they go through. I don't think we're doing that enough. Highly qualified teachers is in practically all of the federal legislation which we have been dealing with, and that's of vital importance as well. Vocational education was mentioned. I'm also the sponsor of that bill, the Perkins bill. I think that's of great importance in terms of a type of education which has been overwhelmingly successful in all of your states, I believe, and we need to continue to push that also. And we need to continue to do a lot of the suggestions which you have made too, and obviously math and science is a matter of tremendous importance. But the important thing is exactly what you're doing at this conference. I always love the governor's conferences, and I was at the first education conference in Charlottesville, Virginia, as a matter of fact, some years ago, and that is not to back off the challenge of what we have to do. And I don't think you will. I mean, I know a lot of you, and I just know how governors are, and I know you want to make a difference. I think you are making a difference. So I congratulate you. I congratulate you for this conference, and hopefully working together, because this is a federal-state partnership, as the title this afternoon shows, is something we can do to help all these kids in America.
Congressman Hinojosa.
Good afternoon. It's indeed an honor for me to come and participate in this summit. This governor's event, in my opinion, is the second most important political event I have ever attended. The first was when I raised my hand and I was sworn in the House of Representatives, and I looked up and I saw my mother in a wheelchair in the gallery, very, very proud, with tears coming down her cheek because she was seeing the 8th of 11 children being sworn in to Congress. I am of Mexican immigrant parents. They raised 11 children, and I think that if you remember only one thing of what I said, the key to what we are discussing is parental involvement. My mother, of 95 years of age, got all of us to graduate from high school, half of us through college and with masters. And I say to you that I speak as one who has a lot of experience with limited English proficient students. The Latino community is a very large component of our population and will continue to grow. The district I represent grew by 48% from 1990 to 2000. So I want to say that as I look around and I see our state of Texas Governor Rick Perry and my good friend who served in Congress when I first got elected, New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, and Governor Anibal from Puerto Rico, who has served as both of the last ones served on the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, it makes me feel that I can contribute to the discussion today. And I will try to answer your question, Governor, but let me preface it by saying that I came to Congress to make a difference. I was very comfortable running a corporation. And I came because we had a 21% unemployment since the era of President Eisenhower. 21% unemployment, and today it's at 9.5%. We have not seen a single digit in 40 years until now. Parental involvement, I repeat, is very, very important. 7 boys, 4 girls, and none of us talk back to my mother. So I want to say that I am very pleased to see that the governors give this issue that we're discussing today, high school graduation, the importance that I and many of my colleagues have given this issue. We are serious. My vision is for a coordinated national effort to improve secondary education, leveraging the resources from all the stakeholders, school districts, local governments, states, philanthropic organizations, corporations, community-based organizations, and yes, the federal government, where we are spending about $2.5 trillion and never enough on education. That is why our members in the partnership with the National Caucus of Hispanic State Legislators and the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce launched an awareness campaign last year called Graduation for All, a Right and a Responsibility. As another step towards realizing my vision, I introduced H.R. 547, the Graduation for All Act, with my colleague Susan Davis of California. We already have the support of 74 members of Congress. Senator Patty Murray of Washington State has taken the lead with similar legislation in the Senate. The Graduation for All Act provides states with the resources to target the school districts with the lowest graduation rates. Funds are to be used to establish literacy programs at the secondary school level and provide on-site professional development for high school faculty through literacy coaches. Additionally, this legislation provides resources to schools to develop and implement individual graduation plans for the students most at risk of not graduating from high school with a diploma. That works. I represent a congressional district that has a group of magnet high schools. 80% are Hispanic. The myth that children of poor schools and poor families cannot learn is nothing more than a myth. Last year in October, Time magazine, or Newsweek magazine rather, placed our high school amongst the top 100 high schools in the nation. 8th best, right behind Langley and Thomas Jefferson and some of those. 8th best in the country. 80% Hispanic. Scoring an SAT and ACT scores higher than anywhere else in our state of Texas. It works. Smaller schools like Bill Gates was talking about yesterday works. Those magnet schools have 600 students. They know each other. They work together. They have teams to learn and push themselves. That works. So in closing, I'd like to commend the NGA for your leadership on this issue, and I'm looking forward to becoming a partner, a working partner with you, because I came from the world of business. I know the importance of a trained workforce, and I know the importance that the state legislature can play if they will partner with us in the Congress to make things happen. Thank you.
Great, thank you.